In today's video, we are going to look at how to make garlic powder at home from homegrown garlic. You may remember that I had an outstanding garlic harvest last summer. Unfortunately, from then until now, I ate a lot less fresh garlic than I thought I might. So, I still have a number of garlic bulbs that have not yet been used. And it's time to use them. How do you know when it's time to do something with your stored garlic? It becomes aromatic. You really smell that strong garlic smell. The skins peel off much more easily than they did before. They don't really stick to the cloves. The cloves get soft and rubbery to the touch. And when you cut a clove open, it starts to sprout a new plant. You see that little green plant inside of the center of the clove. As such, I am making garlic powder. To do so, I peel the cloves. I then cut the cloves into relatively thin slices. And here you do want them to be thin because you're wanting to fully dry the garlic. And the thinner the slice, the easier it will be to get it dry. Next, you'll put them into a dehydrator. Now, just a tip, you're dealing with garlic, so be cognizant of where you are dehydrating. You probably don't want to do it in your normal kitchen area unless it is extremely well ventilated. I use the garage since it is still winter. If you are doing this at a time where it's okay to do it outside, I'd recommend possibly doing it outside because obviously, dehydrating garlic is going to give you some strong garlic smells. Now, when you put them in the dehydrator, I suggest a low heat. I'm using about 110 degrees. I'm using a Nesco dehydrator, which I will link in the description below, for about 24 hours. Now, once again, you're really going to want to make sure that the garlic gets dry. So after 24 hours, check your garlic. See that you don't have any of that rubbery filling stuff. The garlic should now feel nice and hard and dry. If it needs a little bit more time, it's not going to hurt anything to have some additional time of dehydrating. So make sure that it's fully dried. Then you'll want to grind those dehydrated cloves in a spice grinder or a coffee grinder. I'm using a Magic Bullet, which has one of those grinding attachments, and I've linked it below as well. I find it best not to grind too much at once, as you want to make sure that you do get a very finely ground powder. We aren't going for minced garlic here, we're going for garlic powder, so you want it very finely ground. If you failed to properly dice your garlic before starting, or did not dehydrate long enough, the garlic will be wet and sticky, and will clump rather than grinding into a fine powder. If this happens, don't fret. Just spread it out on the dehydrator again and let it dehydrate longer. Now, I'm using what's called a fruit leather tray. You can see here that that's what I'm spreading the wet garlic out on. I'd recommend actually using this at the bottom of your dehydrator anyway, the lowest tray. Put a fruit leather tray on it. So if you do have some small pieces that you've cut up of the garlic that drop down, they just catch on the fruit leather tray and they're fine. They'll still dry just fine. So soon you'll have fully dry slices of garlic that you are grinding into a fine, rich, homegrown garlic powder. To store the homemade garlic powder, I'm just using a container that garlic powder came from the store. I highly recommend using a funnel to help you put the garlic powder into your container. I know firsthand that it is easy to spill. While this is a fair amount of work for something one can buy in the store fairly cheaply, and while some may question making gourmet heirloom garlic into a powder, I had a great time doing it. And I think the flavor of this powder is far more poignant than that which one normally gets at the store. Check out some of our other videos about growing garlic, and please subscribe to the channel for other outstanding gardening videos.